All right, welcome to Now This Is Podcasting. I'm your host, Connor, and today we're starting off October with some spooky movies, and we're going to do a two-parter here. You're listening to part one of The Witch, and then later on in the week we'll release part two. But we're excited to do a deep dive on this one, so go ahead and throw on your headphones, relax, and let's get started on part one of our review of The Witch. So we're talking about The Witch today.
The Witch.
You have a quick fun fact about that, like why it's spelled like...
So, yeah, the two V's were used pre-17th century as a W, which is crazy because this movie is based in the 17th century, which means they would have just switched over to what we see now as a W.
Yeah, so it's kind of cool. It kind of like fits that time period.
Yeah.
I like
Very
it.
close to fitting the time period.
Yeah.
And I always think it's weird too. Like, why do we call it a W if it was really a double V?
All along.
I've never understood that. Like, those are V's.
Why can't it just have its own name, too? You know what I mean? Why does it have to be a double other word, letter?
Why can't it have its own identity? You know?
Yeah. We just call it dubs, you know?
That'd be great.
That would be.
But
So-
we literally do that. Like, have you ever been to B-dubs? Like,
Yeah, exactly.
I suppose you're right.
yeah, or UW.
What is that?
A college?
yeah.
University of Washington?
Or
I've never heard it called
what?
UW.
W is
Yeah.
Wisconsin. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I am out of the loop on my...
I thought
my-
you went to college. Like, I thought you had rivalries and stuff. And like,
I go to a small private Catholic college
Do they
that is not a rival with any dub at all.
do they not
So-
call it the Reg?
Oh,
Yeah,
God, I hope not. I don't call it that.
Rage.
That's because
Let's
you're
rage
not-
for
yeah.
rage.
That's Reg for Jesus.
Hey, we got rowdy for the Rams, boys.
All right, so the dub Itch was written by Robert Eggers. Really? No one laughed at that at all?
I'm laughing right now.
You didn't even give me a moment to process.
This is written and directed by Robert Eggers. Came out in 2015. I think one thing that's so great about, because he did The Lighthouse as well, I think what's cool is his movies seem to have these like really low budgets. And so this was $4 million was the budget, and it had a box office.
That's 1/3 of Wish Upon, which we will talk about soon.
Yeah, we have a podcast coming out about Wish Upon. How does that movie cost more than
I
this?
have no
Yeah.
idea.
Oh,
It's really
God.
weird contrasting, this is the height of cinema. And then there's also these movies called Wish Upon. And there are just so many different
but
ways
they have
of
like
expressing.
every building like made like for this movie.
They brought in a dude from New England because no one in Canada, where they were shooting for tax credits, could actually build something period accurate.
Gross.
Yeah.
Canada?
They had to go
It
way
is
out
filmed in
there.
Canada, yeah.
I can't remember.
disgusting.
Was it in Ontario? I'm pretty sure it was Ontario.
Surprised they're not all covered in maple syrup and saying sorry.
How many times are you going to make that joke every time
I
Canada's
fucking
brought
hate
up?
Canada, dude.
Why would you hate Canada?
Huh? Just don't like them, man.
I mean, so many movies are filmed in Canada for that reason. Interstellar.
Yeah, that was from the Canada.
He grew 500 acres of corn in Canada.
In Canada.
I didn't know you could grow things in Canada.
That's actually the point. Like they were growing in Canada because you couldn't grow. Like they needed so much food because all of their resources had been depleted that they had to try and farm on arable land.
Well, I mean, I guess you have that much money if you're not paying for healthcare.
That's a theory on that movie that I don't agree with, because it's never stated that they live in Canada. It's just filmed in Canada.
Yeah, I thought they were living in Texas.
Anyways, The Witch had
it's just because of Matthew McConaughey was
Yeah.
Texas.
So is why.
The Witch had a box office of $40.4 million, so it easily
That's 10
made all
times
its
its
money
budget, so
back.
that's good.
So
Yes.
it
Twice that of Wish Upon.
Yep.
did do better than Wish Upon.
Yeah.
We're going to compare these, even though those have nothing to do with each other.
Tangentially related by the horror genre.
Wish Upon.
Wish Upon.
But yeah, like I said, this was his first feature-length film, and then he followed it up with Lighthouse, like I said, in 2019. And we have a cool deep dive on that. It's like a 4-part series.
It's
we did.
great.
That's a great
It's one of my
movie.
favorite ones. Yeah,
Yeah.
we talk about mermaid vaginas.
Yeah, I mean, there's that. That's the highlight. I feel like I talk way too much in that one.
No, you talk
Let's
just
not be too
enough.
critical of ourselves on the podcast of us being critical of other people, Colin.
Yeah. Self-deprecate on your own time. Okay, so how we usually start these is we get our first impressions of these. So, Jaden, what is your first impression of The Witch?
Honestly, it's kind of boring.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's good looking. It's got good sound design. I think the acting is phenomenal in it. The dialogue is annoying, and it's just like super strung out, dude.
Were you interested in seeing it though?
Yeah, after watching, because I'd seen other A24 movies like Hereditary and Midsommar before this,
Well, what about The Lighthouse too?
And The Lighthouse, yeah, as well. That's not a horror movie. No, that's not.
I mean, it's an A24
psychological.
weird. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, The Green Knight wasn't a horror movie either, and that's done by A24.
Yeah.
Okay, but so yeah, I was like pretty stoked. I was like jazzed up about it. And
That
I was,
studio
like,
just tends to put out like some good.
yeah, and I was like pretty much disappointed. But I could also tell like in the beginning when there's like 6 production companies, I was like, oh, this isn't gonna be the same. I feel like.
See, yeah, I was very interested to see this because I'd heard the name A24, and I had, and mostly because of this film, I feel like this is the film that where A24 got its reputation. Like, okay, we like making high-minded cinema that's still compelling as narratives and very engaging for the average viewer. So, but the thing is like horror is like an idea that's fascinating but frequently disappointing, and fantasy sits just above sci-fi for me in terms of genre preference. So I had,
Oh yeah, Lord of the Rings over Star Wars all day.
yeah, so like I'd met expectations because I was like, it's horror, but it's fantasy type, so maybe this could be good. And though fantasy's ideas are baser and generally not as high-minded, the settings, being grounded in something that reflects physical Earth, creates authenticity around the mystery of magic, so-called, that really resonates with me. And authenticity here comes in spades, right down to the candles and the clapboards. Eggers, I mean, I feel like we say Eggers too much. Like, so Robert Eggers,
Dude, I
Old
talked
Bob
to him.
Agee.
yeah.
I talked to him. You can talk to
Yeah.
Bob.
I
Eggers.
just feel like
Bob.
we talk about him so much that I kind of forget that like maybe someone hasn't listened to us before.
Yeah.
So
Good
Robert
old Bob.
Eggers debuts with a strong damnation of genre constraints and creates a transformative piece that engrosses so thoroughly that every note of discord is deeply unsettling. Loved every minute of it. Too short.
Oh wow.
Absolutely.
That's funny. So it's an hour and a half runtime. Jaden's like way too long. And you're like, give
Not
me
that it's
more.
too long. It's
Yeah.
too slow. Is
Yeah.
my thing.
All right.
See, I just felt like there were so many shots that were like they were cut too soon. And I watched the commentary with him. There were a couple where he was like, "Yeah, I wanted this one to go on longer, but
That would
I'm
have been
pretty
fine
sure."
because they could have done like better shots that were longer and cut out some of the more bullshit ones.
Yeah,
I am
possibly.
interested if whatever kind of cool takes you have from that commentary, I'd be interested to hear. I do love hearing like the commentaries with the directors and stuff.
Yeah, I was actually kind of frustrated by it. I was hoping for a little bit more insight into the psychology behind everything, but it was really just talking about the shoot and the practical sets and everything and how they built everything and tax credits and those sorts of things. But he pointed out like this right here, this is the worst shot in the film. I hate it so much.
Oh well, if
Yeah.
you have little stuff you can insert like that, I'd appreciate it because I
Yeah, commentary is pretty
I didn't
cool.
hear the commentary, so I'd be interested to hear that. I think I probably fall somewhere in between you two because I do think that this movie feels long at certain points, and then I think there's other points where I think it's paced really well, and I like that it draws out some of its shots. But then there's just other times I'm just like, okay, like I know what's going on. We can move this one along. Another thing that Calvin said is it feels 100% authentic, which I think you get that out of anything Robert Eggers does. Like I guess there's like 2 things he's done, like at least feature length. Lighthouse and this they feel exactly like I'm in that time
Yeah,
period.
absolutely.
Down to the dialogue, like you said, the look of the structures, all the costumes, every detail seems to be like right on. And I feel like I really appreciate him as a director because he really takes time to like hit all the details. And I think it's even more impressive because he writes all these.
Yeah, and he digs through the source material that he digs through. He goes back and finds journals.
I think that's what they say at the end. There's like a little text that comes up, and it's like these are taken from journals of the time, and so all the dialogue feels like it belongs in that time. And I know Jaden, like you said, you had a problem with it because it's just like it's
It's
just
just
this kind of-
annoying. Like, I understand the reason behind it and like why it fits with the film. I understand that. Like it's a good directorial choice. I just as a fan fucking hate it.
yeah, no, I
you
get
don't
that.
you don't like the son going up to the dad and like, may God give you good morrow.
That's probably not that bad, but like just the rest of it, like it's like thy children are whatever. I don't care. You say thy, I'm over it, dude. Like, all right.
That's the breaking point.
Yes.
And like I even saw him on a couple panels where he had other historians and historians that were familiar with the Salem witch trials. So not just New England, but specifically the mythology surrounded by witches. And one that I saw was they were in Salem. It was one of the first showings of the witch, and they were all like, yeah, like couldn't find a flaw. Everyone,
that's awesome. Yeah.
Everyone, like every witch movie, Salem movie ever comes around, we always roll our eyes and think, oh, how's this one gonna? And they were like every single detail, like the bread ovens and the types of barrels they used. They were
everything seems very authentic and very just pure.
Yeah. And that I think that's fun. It's like
there's
even
only one issue I have with it, and that's the part where he's like hammering, but he's using the back of an axe. Why do you just build this whole fucking house? You don't have a hammer?
Well, it's kind of like for the time you would use it as like a multi-purpose tool.
Really? I feel like they had hammers.
Rather than having a hammer and an axe, you could get by with just one.
That's fair.
I mean, these are people who've been cast out of their pilgrimage. Like, of course, you got to make do with what you have.
Because of Jesus stuff.
Yeah. Again, just going back to the dialogue, this is like a line that probably doesn't matter, but it's when William, the dad, he's like trying to shoot at the rabbit.
William.
And he tries to shoot, and it doesn't like work. The gunpowder doesn't go off, and he says, "Oh, fie upon it." And I love that line. Like,
because he's saying, "Oh fuck."
Yeah, essentially. Yeah. And that to me is a part of like just this amazing amount of research that went into this movie to make the dialogue feel authentic. I just love that. Oh, fie upon it. Like, it's so good.
Oh, so good. Yeah.
So do we want to move on to kind of some of the cinematography, maybe some of the like the look, like what did we like about the scenes that we saw or disliked? It can be either. Or what were we lukewarm about?
I actually really like the way the movie looks. I think it is fitting along with everything else as far as like the props and stage and like whatever, all that stuff just seems very authentic. I think the way it looks feels the exact same way. It's got this great overtone to almost all of it. Some of the stuff is like where the witch is in her like cabin or whatever, it's kind of hard to see. It's a little annoying. But at the same time, it fits because she's not going to have a well-lit cabin in the middle of the fucking woods. Like,
yeah, that's actually one of my favorite things. And he mentioned it in the commentary, but it was something that I noticed. Like, if you're being period accurate, then very likely that you're not using as many candles as they were, but you need enough light in order to expose your image.
Yeah, you have to be able to film something.
Yeah, so this was all done
even
digitally.
If it's baby goo.
Yeah, exactly. So this was
which
all
is
done
not semen, in case anyone got confused by that.
Oh, that's a good one. Okay. But yeah, so this one, rather than like in the lighthouse, that was shot on film. This was actually shot digitally. But you still need a certain amount of light in order for the image to be rendered. So there were multiple scenes with they tried to stay as close to natural lighting as possible. So there are even scenes where Thomason has a lantern and there's 3 candles in it, and they're like, yeah, that's obviously not period accurate, but we just couldn't get enough light.
Like you can only do so much, dude. Like, hey Bob, you did a great job, bud.
Yep.
Good job. Yeah.
Exactly. And so that's the thing is like there's a pragmatic quality to a lot of art, and especially in film, like how we get by in order to tell stories. So I do love how accurate they tried to be. I do think some scenes do suffer because they don't have enough light, like the scenes with the witch. There's like, because they said they created the whole hovel and it is decorated immaculately.
Yeah,
it's so spooky.
All 2 scenes with the witch.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They spent a lot of time on that. And the same sort of thing with the devil at the end. You can't see him. It's actually, and he said that, so the costume for the devil is the most expensive piece of costume in the whole film. And you can't see it.
Yeah, right. I look at this and I think it really takes its time to set up some really creepy shots. There's parts where like the sun is like kind of going through these like brambles in the woods, and that scene takes forever.
Whoa, what's a bramble?
Like a I want to say a briar patch, but I don't even know if you know. It's just a bunch. It's like just a clumping of branches.
Okay.
He's like climbing through all of them, and it's like a really long shot, and he's like. It makes me feel anxious as he's going through it, and that's one of the takes I think that is like it's longer, and I think it works. Then there's other ones I think are long that they don't fit as well, but then you get great shots like when they have dinner together, and there's just the candles on the table, and I think that one's framed really well. I actually thought a lot about the aspect ratio of this while watching it, which I usually don't. It's a 1.66 to 1 aspect ratio. And Lighthouse is that like 1.19 to 1, which is Another weird aspect ratio.
Yeah, it's almost square. Yeah, whereas here, like you have a fairly typical widescreen format.
And I almost think that this kind of suffers for that. And I'm not saying that he needs to make the same movie over and over again. So I just thought that maybe this would have lent itself to kind of, the claustrophobic feeling you get from, all the scenes with Wake and Winslow and Lighthouse, and kind of like you're trapped here.
That
I feel
intimacy.
Like, yeah, I feel like in the same way, like they're kind of trapped in this like little farm they built because they've been cast out from their pilgrimage and stuff like that.
And they can go like into the forest. It's almost like a fence around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought, while the aspect ratio isn't like insanely different, I thought this kind of lent itself to being smaller the same way Lighthouse did. And again, I don't think you need to make the same film over and over again, or Robert Eggers can only use his 1.19 to 1 aspect ratio. I just thought watching this, I was like, man, this would have kind of been cool if it was cut down a bit, because it is wider.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that. So Guillermo del Toro has actually said something similar. He has said that a filmmaker only makes one film their entire life. He's like, I've only made one film my entire life. It's just Alfred Hitchcock has only made one film in my entire life, and it's because we bring the same. I say we. But it's because
you're a filmmaker.
Yeah, I'm a filmmaker.
You can toot your horn.
I'm a content creator, so I'm out here making things. But we bring ourselves to our work. We put ourselves into every film, and they're personal, regardless of whether they're a box office hit like Hellboy, or where if there's something meant to be a little bit more intimate and personal, like Pan's Labyrinth. Because those are both Guillermo del Toro films.
Yeah. We've discussed this before.
Yeah, we so for those that haven't, and I think the same thing, like here, like you saying, like I don't want to make the same film every time. Like the thing is, we do return to settings, to ideas, and to shot selections that we find comfortable with, that we feel like get across our opinions and our ideas in the most coherent way. So I think it's interesting that you note that this is such a wide aspect ratio, and it actually suffers in it from it when we compare it to how well it worked in The Lighthouse.
Well, he might have just learned,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Possibly.
I think another thing that went into Lighthouse that didn't really go into this is not only did he want the look to be authentic, he wanted the cameras and everything that went into the filming of Lighthouse to be authentic.
Yeah.
There weren't cameras in in this time period for The Witch, so it's like that's I think part of why it was shot digitally.
Yeah. I wish they would have just drawn everything.
Yeah, they should have.
Yeah, exactly. Everything's just hands and dirt. Like
it should have just been like should have just been like written word on the screen, just describing every scene, because that's how media was back then.
Yeah, exactly.
But after talking about The Lighthouse and now reviewing The Witch, I'm excited to see what Robert Eggers has coming out. It's a movie called The Northman. It's supposed to come out in 2022.
But yeah, it's got everybody. Anya Taylor-Joy. It's got I'm so sorry, I'm missing. It's got everybody from The Witch, and then Willem Dafoe, and then like Thomas Skarsgård. I think it's one of the Skarsgårds.
Yeah. No, there's like 3 of them: the dad and the 2 sons.
Yeah, exactly. It's the dad.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's the elder Skarsgård. So,
oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm excited about that cast.
One thing I just kind of am a little bummed out about this movie. I think it waits to the last like 20 minutes, I think, to give you its best shots. And I kind of wish it paced out its cool looking stuff a little sooner.
One of my favorite shots is right when they're leaving the town and the gate shut.
So if we want to talk about that one, because I think it's a good way to introduce the score of this film. That scene especially I really love, because they're on the back of the cart and they're singing like a hymn. Mm-hmm. But then you have this, it's in the background, and it kind of builds up, is this like chorus of it's like a female choir singing this like just really ominous tones over a biblical hymn. And I love kind of that juxtaposeness, like this is supposed to be like a holy righteous family cast out for being almost like Christian zealots, like they believe too hard, that not even other Puritans can handle them. And then they leave, and overlaid over them leaving is just these really ominous sounds. And so I think that's a good way to introduce the score to this.
Yeah. And I do love that shot too, because if you'll notice, the only one looking back is Thomasin.
Yeah.
Which I think sets up a lot of the division in the family later in the film. Because she didn't want to leave, basically, is what it's suggesting. She's also the last one to leave the courthouse, or the town meeting hall, and she has to be back
She's
by
also
Caleb.
the last one.
Yeah, that could be another layer to it. But I think it says a little bit more about like where her heart's at, not necessarily in the extreme piety that William has for his family.
So Jaden, you usually like kind of minimalist scores. I would kind of put this in that category as well.
It's close. I actually really enjoy the score in this one.
I think what's interesting about this one is they'll go long periods with like no score at all.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden it's just like it's right
Big
there.
fan, dude, because they only put the score in where it's needed, and I think it's really necessary in this movie because I think a lot of it is supposed to be quiet.
Yeah, I honestly,
and as much as I don't like the boringness of the movie, I think that it's supposed to be that way too because it's supposed to make you almost feel like you're in this time period. What the fuck were they supposed to do, dude?
Right.
They don't have like newspapers to read or iPhones to play Flappy Bird on. They got nothing, dude. Yeah, you just get so bored though in this movie. You just chop fucking wood.
yeah,
You just chop so much fucking wood.
I actually originally thought this was a documentary teaching early 1600 settlers how to chop wood.
How to
because
wear a sheet around your waist and chop wood.
there is so much of it.
yeah, very, very.
Well,
very,
I mean, and I have points to make about that later as well. But yeah.
But I do love. So one thing that I learned in school, especially, is the less music, the less you rely on music, the better, the more you can concentrate on just your image telling your story. And I think absolutely you could take out the music and the score here, even though it's great, and you would have the same feeling.
I probably wouldn't have even noticed, buddy.
Exactly, because it is just that it holds up. The images themselves hold up in such a way that everything feels very dramatic and very real, and you would still come away with this very sense of unease. You know, this feeling that things aren't right without having to be.
Yeah,
kind
it's
of
like the
told.
atmosphere is built in by what you're looking at, not by everything going on around it.
Exactly.
Which is so odd because I agree with you, but then I am conflicted because one of my favorite movies is Interstellar. We talked about, and that movie, after we discussed it, that movie is in a way kind of carried by its score, and I think it's all the better for it. Like I think it totally works.
Different movies do different things, dude.
Yeah.
Situations are situational.
Yeah,
You know?
I just think it's interesting to contrast those.
It
two
is,
because one of them is like the score is a part of the scene, and this movie, I agree with what you said, Calvin. You could probably remove the score, and I'll probably still feel just as anxious going through it.
They were just putting some sugar on their ice cream, boys.
Yeah, no, you're so right.
So right. But yeah, I think that the music is more it's necessary in Interstellar because like we were saying, like everything on Earth, all of the anytime that Jessica Chastain is on the screen, we need some music to care.
Yeah.
So I mean that's a personal opinion, but it's also backed by a degree. So there's like, you know.
No, and again, after we had that conversation, I was like, he's probably right. It doesn't make me like the movie any less, but it does make me think about how films use scores, and that movie that movie uses the score. This movie does not.
Smothers it.
Yeah, I still think it's really good.
Slathers it then.
Okay, that's better, I guess.
Play through the same
Slathers it like an unction.
Yeah, exactly. It's a little too much sugar on my ice cream, actually.
So if we want to move on from the score, do we want to get into some of the characters?
Oh, yes. Let's talk about...
these are the best parts of the movie. So.
Absolutely.
We can start with Anya Taylor-Joy.
She's a fucking fantastic actress, dude.
Yeah, she plays Thomason, who is the lead of this. I think that it's kind of cool. This is like her first big thing. She's like uncredited in like 2 small bits she played before.
This was before Split?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Was
No,
Split
this is-
16 or when did Split come out?
15, right?
This came out in 15, yeah. But again, it's like Robert Eggers, I watched an interview where he was talking about casting, and he was like, well, I looked at her and I was
Split
like...
16, yep.
Yeah. And he was like, I looked at her and I just knew that she was not going to be a good Puritan, so I had to cast her. And then another aspect that goes into that is obviously the dialogue is like it's not natural to the way we speak English now. So Robert Eggers said he's like they're like, did you have any trouble casting people? Did they grasp the dialogue? He's like, I just didn't cast them if they didn't get it. He was like, if you didn't have like a natural kind of affinity to pick it up, I just didn't cast you.
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was
Trying
like,
to fucking make a movie here.
Yeah, he was like, I wasn't gonna waste time, trying to do that, and which kind of fits because didn't this only have like a 28-day filming?
Probably something like that. I can't
It's
remember.
pretty similar to Lighthouse. It's like under 30 days. It's really quick, and so you don't have time to be like, let me bring a voice coach on or someone to help these people out with their lines. So he was just like, yeah, she just picked it up right away. Otherwise, I wouldn't have cast her. And
So the
she
kids,
did,
the
yeah.
little kids, dude.
No, she does.
Yeah. Well, that's also why they did their casting in the UK, so they could at least start with the base of someone who understood that dialect.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
as like
she's-
someone like who just came over on the boat.
Yeah, but after this, Anya Taylor-Joy went on to be in, like you said, stuff like Split, Glass, Peaky Blinders, and then she was the lead of her own show on Netflix, that Queen's Gambit.
Yeah,
You
that
guys seen
limited
that?
series or whatever.
Yeah.
I have not.
It was good.
Yeah.
I really liked it.
And she, like I said, she's amazing. Like everything I've seen her in is wonderful. So
I was too busy watching guitar videos when that came out.
No, Queen's Gambit's really good. Everyone should check
I
that
don't
one
give a
out.
shit
Yeah.
about
And now she's going to be in The Northman, which I think we looked it up. It has like $160 million budget. It's obscene.
She's also going to be young Furiosa in the Furiosa movie.
That's good.
I love that. The new Mad Max stuff I think is awesome.
Can't wait.
Anyways, do we want to talk about Ralph Ineson, the father? He plays William.
Oh
Sure.
yeah. I didn't realize he was on The Office.
I'm sorry, what?
He was in the British
I
version.
know what you're talking about. now.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, yeah,
I was like, I am pretty confident I've watched that show through like 9 or 12 times.
That's why I said
I
I
don't
wanted,
Yeah,
remember.
9 or 12. Okay.
I wanted to see your reaction. Be like, how did I miss it?
How could I have possibly done
Yeah.
that?
No,
Okay,
and then
no,
like
I
you
know
said it, and I remembered like those movies too.
But Ralph Ineson is in this movie. The
Okay.
Will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I made a note. I said, great voice, great actor. Enough said.
Yeah.
Yeah. His character's a fucking dipshit. But yeah.
Yeah, I love him because he's like a well-meaning father, but plagued by his own self-righteousness, and he takes his family to live in the wilderness so they can focus on being true Christians.
I'm gonna conquer this.
Yeah, and he breaks the mold of being the typical domineering father figure and shows tenderness and patience with just a splash of biblical wrath. So I find him to be nuanced enough that he works in every way in every scene.
Yeah. He does enough dumb things to make the story continue. So
Yeah, exactly. Which is kind of the point.
yeah, that's what characters do in movies.
Yeah, but you know how people do really dumb stuff in like your typical like Annabelle horror movie or Conjuring? Like you're like, don't go into that door, or like,
Yeah.
what are you doing? They do dumb stuff in the service of like moving this scary plot forward. He does dumb stuff that seems totally in character to me. Like it all makes like the way he's acting, it fits like this kind of zealot that he is.
Yeah,
I just don't know about all that, man.
it's just so
The
human.
rabbit scene, dude, just really bugs me, dude. Really, really bugs me.
I mean, I can still see like a real human
bugs
with that.
me. Bugs Bunny is a rabbit.
Oh my god. What about Kate Dickie, who plays Catherine, is the wife of William, the mother?
The chick from Game of Thrones.
Yes.
Yeah, she's great at breastfeeding.
We talked about her in Green Knight. I think she's great in Green Knight. I think she's even better in this.
Oh, she's a fantastic actress. I just hate her.
It is amazing.
Like I love to
Yeah.
hate her though. Is the thing. It's like I want to see her in things.
She is so good at being a creepy person.
Yeah, and she's just so good at breastfeeding.
Yeah. And what's sad is that Robert Eggers has actually mentioned that he didn't care for her final portrayal. He wished that there had been more love and compassion between her and Thomason to create more of the, like, all they had was conflict, you know? Like you had Kate, who was at odds with Thomason the whole time because she seemed to enjoy the small amount of power that she's gained as a wife. And she doesn't want to lose any of that to Thomason and her
Oh, yeah, she's
sexual
hella jealous. Yeah.
her sexual virility. Like you
Also,
were
she doesn't
talking
know how to hold her breath as an actress. Just saying that. All right.
But so yeah, that's the one problem that Robert Eggers has with it, and I don't know if I necessarily agree with it as a problem because I didn't have the vision of the character and what the way he's created it. I think works very well here because I don't know if it's necessarily the point to, like, it needs the nuance. Like I think that's a good point that works with William. Do we need to create it with all of them? Maybe it works better, but it's fine with me.
Yeah, I don't catch that at all. I think it's fine that she's just like they're at odds kind of from the get go.
Yeah, kind of like split personality, like two women, like we're fighting for station in life, basically.
Yeah, I don't have
Yeah,
any
she's just a
problem
big
with
old bitch throughout the whole movie. It fits her so much.
that. Yeah, but I think she just does it really great.
Oh,
I think
fantastic.
she does
Like-
a great job.
Like I said, she's like one of those characters that, like, I want her in movies because she's somebody who plays such a good job of people I love to hate.
Yeah,
Thing like her portrayal in Game of Thrones, like I fucking hate her in that show,
right.
but I want her in the scenes. Now I have somebody to hate.
That's true.
Same thing with this movie because I wouldn't have hated anyone else besides the other two little kids if it wasn't for her.
Oh my god. Do we want to talk about?
I'd rather get to Caleb first.
Okay, let's talk about
Yeah,
Caleb.
Caleb's probably more important to the narrative.
He's played by Harvey Scrimshaw.
Fucking good job, bud.
I actually have two different kind of opinions on him because I think he does stuff that is not like especially good
Really?
acting. I think his real knockout scene is when he's kind of going through that
exorcism
like an
thing.
exorcism, I guess is how I would describe it. But before that, I think he kind of isn't. And again, he's a child actor, so I'm not going to be like too critical of what I'm saying. But I thought kind of there was a lot of stuff before that. I was like, he's not like selling me on who he is.
Really?
And then that's what I think.
Without all the shots of him just like turning away from looking at sister's tits like real quick.
Yeah,
Just,
right,
Like, that's
yeah.
always good, like, hey, you're doing a good job, kid.
I think there was some
Yeah.
times where he again, he's a kid, and this is like a
This is
really,
it. He did. I think the best that the kid can do.
Yeah.
is my thing.
it's a weird, hard, authentic accent and dialogue to deliver.
Yeah.
So I'm fine with him. Like, I think there were I guess that's my problem is I think some of his delivery just like wasn't quite right. But
and they
then,
feel as natural as some of the other characters for sure.
I think that's part of the problem is I think maybe everyone else just did it a little better, and so he
Yeah.
stood out a little. But then you get to that exorcism scene, and I was like, oh my god,
Yeah, he kills it, man.
I don't know. There are not adults who can act that well, like award-winning adults who wouldn't even come close. That scene is amazing.
Yeah, it's crazy good. I mean, like, and I typically like freaking hate kids in movies because I think they ruin them.
But yeah, I think this film, all of its child actors like do a good job.
Yeah, as far as child acting goes.
I said I knock him a little bit. Like I said, I knock him a little bit.
Yeah.
I think he's still great. This kid is awesome.
I think he does a good job. I think he'll have a good career ahead of him. And
He hasn't really done anything actually since.
That's
Yeah,
crazy
no, I looked
because
that up
like
too,
I
yeah.
would be like, let's get that kid in this fucking movie whenever we're filming.
Yeah.
He
You know what I
doesn't
love
wanna.
too? Yeah, and you know what I love too about his name, Harvey Scrimshaw? I kind of hope that you remember the line in the Lighthouse where Robert Pattinson's going crazy, like, I broke your Scrimshaw trinket.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, I looked it up because I was like, I wonder if Robert Eggers just thought Scrimshaw. That's a great word.
Yeah,
and
right.
but it's actually he used it correctly in that film. But I kind of think like, maybe he saw Scrimshaw and like maybe I'll put that in a film because
I just doubt that Bob's not going to do anything correctly.
Right. Dude, he's gonna listen and be like, "Fuck these guys."
Yeah. Hey, dude.
Bobby Eggers.
Yeah,
You got that, Bob?
I
right?
hate that.
Can you do it? Yes, you can, Bob.
But
So-
I love Caleb because like he's full of conflict, questions of the idea of salvation, filled with shameful lust for
He's a
his
smart
sister.
kid.
Yeah, he's probably the most moral character as well.
He has a great bit of dialogue. He's out in the woods with his dad. They're gonna go and try and set traps and hunt and stuff like that. And he's asked about prayers or something like that. And he says, his birth sin from Adam is corrupt nature dwelling within him, empty of grace, bent unto sin, only unto sin, and to it continually. And I think that kind of speaks to like that character. He, like you said, he has a lot of conflict in him, and so he's like suffering with this nature inside of him that is sinful. And it just it could have been just some dialogue that you just think fits in the period, but I think it actually matters to the character.
I think it matters to his character, yeah. Because he is, like what you said, he's the most morally profound character, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then to have dialogue dealing with him grappling with his nature.
Yeah.
Even you talked about him like, stealing looks at his sister.
I mean, who else you can steal looks at, dude?
Yeah, right.
There's no one else there. I mean, you're a maturing young boy. Things are gonna happen, dude.
But that's that corrupt nature.
Yeah,
that
and
we
he's
talked
trying
about.
his best not to. Like that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He's doing his due diligence.
So I will say that I while I do have like small criticisms of him, I think he's great.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I think
he did a
him and
wonderful job.
I want to talk about the twins now because I think as far as the child acting, Lucas Dawson plays Jonas, who I think is almost nothing in this movie.
Yeah, he's basically nothing. Yeah.
Yeah.
But Ellie Granger plays Mercy, who I think is next to Caleb and Thomason is I almost say is like maybe the most important character in the whole film.
Oh, I hate her.
Mercy is a bonkers in this. Like I've never like hated a child so much.
Yeah,
like,
no,
I'm like,
I
oh
punch
my
her.
god, it's like she's so manipulative and she just kind of single-handedly seems to turn the whole family against Thomason. And we will get to that. I don't know if we mentioned this. This is a two-parter. So this is kind of covering kind of the bare bones. Just kind
Yeah,
of our
we're just
basic
doing the
review.
first V right now.
Yeah, the second V will come in episode 2.
Yes.
So we'll dive more into like what we think of these characters and how the role they play. I just think it's good to kind of drop that note that I think she's incredibly important to this story.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I kind
she
of
is.
think of them like she has a lot more dialogue, but I think she's really more of a device. She's an archetype. But both of them, they feel like imps, you know? They feel like devil's helpers to me. Like,
like Oompa Loompas.
yeah, exactly. It's like the question of like, yeah, I mean,
For real,
close.
that's what they feel like the whole time.
Yeah.
It's like these little Oompa Loompas are bastards.
Yeah, like did they conjure Black Phillip, or is like
Right.
Why
Yeah.
are they so much fatter than everyone else in the movie?
I think
Stop eating all the food.
I look at that. It's their clothing because they do. It's something about their
I,
clothing.
I,
that makes-
it's because they try to make them look fatter
yeah, it's
because
something-
that's their
yeah.
sin is like gluttony or whatever.
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, that's an interesting take.
I read an article where they called them obese children. And I was like, oh, come on, like they don't even have double chins. Like, let's get
Yeah.
over ourselves here.
Yeah.
So, do we have anything to say about Jonas, Luca Dawson's
Hey,
character?
I'm just telling you, Luke is a dope name, and you did a great job, kid.
Sorry, Lucas. Sorry, I said Luca.
Take the S off; it's better.
Calvin, what do you have anything else to say about Mercy? That isn't going to kind of like divulge too much of what we want to go in the next episode.
Oh, yeah, I don't think so. I mean, right now, like it's just like focusing on just their affects as characters. I think they did, again, another exceptional job of child acting.
Yeah, speaking piece sets.
And that's got to be again, that's got to be so hard to be like take these kids and be like, here's this weird dialogue. I know you're, what they must be like 4 or 5.
I have no fucking idea how old those kids could be 12.
I have
Like,
no
that makes
okay.
no sense.
I have no idea how to tell how old children
Me
are.
either.
I'm
When they hit
so
like
bad at,
16, I'm like, okay, that kid's like older than 12 now, I think.
I have nieces and nephews, and
I know how old my niece is just because like I go to her birthday party.
But if I look at another kid, I have no idea how
idea.
old you are.
Yeah, see, I
she'll be
think
like
they
playing at
look,
the playground. I'm like, is she beating up an 8-year-old or a 2-year-old right now? No clue.
So bad at that.
to me, they look like they're 6 or 7. I don't know.
Okay, yeah.
I feel like I don't know why. It's just like
Just a gut feeling.
yeah.
We should have looked that up. before
Overly,
we did
you
this.
can't. They don't have IMDb or Wikipedia pages.
All right.
Yeah, so I already
Probably
checked.
because they're children.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of the point. They want to protect privacy.
So Robert Eggers grew up in the New England area, and it's some interviews I read from him and saw panels he had done. He's like fascinated kind of like by the history surrounding that area. He had done research on witches, and he really kind of went out of his way to kind of flesh out and understand that Puritan culture and how to fit it into this film.
Yeah, and I think what's so interesting so we talked a lot about how this is a family drama, really, so far about these characters and their tension. Are you giving me a look? Because
There's very good drama parts. I don't know. This whole movie is a family drama.
yeah.
Go ahead, yeah.
I mean, so there are realistic elements there of like people living, but I love this film really works in 3 ways. We'll get to the third way in our part 2. But the other way this works is there is social critiques about what it means to be such and such a gender role as a Puritan, and everything goes through Thomason. All of the characters project themselves and their negative affects onto her. So William with his pride and hypocrisy, inadequacy, Kate with her lust for power, Caleb with his sexual lust, and I see the twins as being like an embodiment of fear or gluttony.
Which is crazy because, I think that all characters like represent at least a portion of the 7 deadly sins.
Oh, that's a good. I don't know. Looking at this, I don't know how I didn't put that together.
But yeah, like obviously, like Caleb is lustful towards his own sister, which
Right.
is incorrect. Gluttony.
That's a nice way to put it. I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah, that's a no.
That's incorrect, Caleb.
Gluttony and sloth, maybe even greed, are definitely represented by the twins, who seem a little bit even fatter than the rest of the family, and
And
really-
the lying too.
and they don't do much. They lie. They literally say that their sister is a witch, and she's like, "What the fuck?"
yeah.
And obviously the prideness of the father, and then the envy and wrath of the mother.
Yeah.
Like that's all represented and literally forced onto Thomason as the character.
Oh, I like the way you've summed that up better. I think those work better than the way that I have them. Like Kate's power, it really does work better as envy.
Yeah, because she's very envious of her daughters. Like, why is she getting this attention? She's attractive now. I'm not. Like all this stuff, and
Your sluttish looks what bewitched Caleb.
yeah,
Yeah,
William
right.
was next.
No, I think that's
she's a terrible mom. I don't tell you.
Which I think that kind of ties back into what
Calvin said earlier, is Robert Eggers was like, I kind of wish there was more compassion in that relationship at first, and then it changed. I like that it's just straight up like animosity from the get-go.
Right away.
Yeah, and I love thinking too, like a big part of like why she's projecting so much onto Thomason is, the first thing was losing Sam because of her. She was, to believe
That fucking scene, dude.
yeah, like to believe like a crazy story is like I was literally staring at him playing peekaboo and he disappeared. Like that's unrealistic.
But you see the witch's foot, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you also see. Did you notice that some of the bushes and things shook?
Yeah,
They said
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
they
she was so sneaky getting there, but getting away, she like didn't give a fuck.
Yeah,
It was crazy because you just could have stood there because you're invisible, but whatever.
yeah, exactly.
I also like that they blame it on a wolf. They're like, oh, a wolf.
Yeah.
Because they're Puritans. They don't believe in pagans.
No, they do.
Well, I mean-
Absolutely. They believed all of that stuff was very real. They believe that there were witches
I guess
made.
I'm saying that wrong. I guess I mean like their first conclusion wouldn't be a witch. It would be like, let's try to.
Well, Thompson said that she saw the wolf.
Well, what's interesting actually
Right.
too.
Yeah.
And what's interesting actually too was Robert Eggers was saying like, the academia, the intelligentsia of the time did think that witches were real. They thought they were a natural part of the world. So it would have been a fairly early assumption by these people.
I guess
I think that's why she said it was a wolf, because she didn't want them thinking that she was maybe a witch.
I think I said that wrong. I guess it's just like they would try to figure out some other explanation besides a witch first is more what I meant.
Well, yeah,
But-
because it's like the worst possible outcome.
So there's an interview with Robert Eggers I saw, which lends to Calvin's point, which kind of makes me have egg on my face because I was wrong.
Yeah, Eggers on your face.
Yeah, I was going to say, damn, you beat me right to it, man.
you
Like, I've been
tossed-
thinking this whole time about making a little egg and giving a little name tag that says Bob.
Yeah, you just tossed a softball up to us.
I'm so sorry. There's an interview where he talks about like you said, this is a thing that they actually believe, like women with like a strong personality and who are outspoken. It wasn't like this is a mystical, magical thing. They were like they are just like literally a witch. It wasn't a way to like keep women down or like have the patriarchy oppress women. There were situations where it was like literally they just believed that this person was a witch. There's even, I think in that interview, Eggers says that there's journals he read where they're written by women who were outspoken. They're like, wow, something must be wrong with me. I must, like, they believed themselves that they were a witch.
Like, I can do math.
They were like,
Jesus, I must be a witch.
I know, right?
Yeah, but I actually think that is part of the problem. Like they believed so much in these gender roles and these ideas of how women need to behave that it did become that. You helped fuel the witch archetype as someone who is non-conforming to the idea of a woman as a subservient to man. So I think that they did, like, it entered into the collective unconscious that witches, yes, like, do these types of things. And, like, if they are outspoken, then they are a witch because you're not conforming. And so it is a way of keeping them down because it's not the accepted set of beliefs in
I'm just saying,
puritanical society.
What I mean is, like, it's not like a council got together and they were like, in their like this pilgrimage, and they're like, "Hey, this woman is talking too much. Let's say she's a witch. That way we can."
Okay,
burn her."
yeah. I see
What
you're
I'm saying is,
they
like,
legit believe they were witches.
There were
Yeah.
situations that were like, "Oh my god, like we have a serious witch problem on our
Yeah.
hands. Like this person is literally a witch." There were times where it was not used as a tool to keep women down. Sometimes it was just a literal. They literally believed that was a something that could affect their society.
I still think it's a tool to keep women down, but I don't think they realized that it was a tool. Basically,
Yeah. I guess the ends are the same.
Yeah, absolutely. You're
Yeah.
not, like, what you're saying is right.
Yeah,
I understand where you're
but
coming
I think
from.
the route they got there wasn't the same all the
Yeah,
time.
no, absolutely not.
It wasn't
It's
it wasn't like men in leadership were like,
If
let's
all you
kill
give
this
someone
woman.
is a hammer, all they're going to do is smash things.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the idea of indoctrination here.
Yeah.
Like we're still getting to the same point, but the motivations might be different.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think that maybe Thompson was fearful that she might be a witch after that scene, and that's why she lied about it being a wolf?
Yeah, honestly, it's Thomas
Because
is so
she's like
interesting.
obviously the most intelligent character in the movie.
She's also the only one that asked for forgiveness of any of her sins.
Yeah.
It's interesting, like, how the change of her character, because she's the only one that admits to, she's not the only one that admits to her sin, but she asks for forgiveness. She lists all of her sins. So because of the ending, it's hard, to see her as a victim, but at the same time, she never does anything wrong, So, like, why does she become a witch? If not embodying the qualities that everyone was projecting onto her. Like that was her sin.
Right.
Everyone else is just fearful of her, especially her mother, and I think that that's what caused the whole issue to begin with.
Yes.
I don't want to get into my theory on that now. I want to save it for episode 2, but I do think that definitely plays a role because, like, I don't think that she thought she was a witch. I think later on there's some stuff that happens and it kind of sways the way she feels.
Yeah.
And that's what I think is there is some really interesting storytelling in this. There's some subtle stuff that goes on throughout, which I get why, like Jaden, you said you thought this was like kind of boring and slow, and I think I can tend to agree with that in some ways, but I think it all builds to like this really good ending.
It does.
That all makes sense.
Yeah.
I just kind of I can sympathize with like kind of your plight that it could have maybe got there sooner, but then I can also kind of sympathize with Calvin where it's like there's like some good stuff going on.
Oh, absolutely.
And
I
wouldn't mind to see more
I
of it.
do not think this is a bad movie by any means. Just my like pre-nature of going in here, like think of A24 movies. I was just like, oh, it's a little disappointing.
Yeah, no.
But other than that, like there's still very great things about this movie.
Yeah, and one other thing I did want to mention about the idea that the system of religion was what was repressing women. I find the scene where Thomason is confronting William about she's telling all of this truth about like he can only chop wood, he can't hunt, he can't grow crops.
Yeah, we're gonna.
Yeah, but what his reply is so interesting. He's like, I won't allow the devil to wag his tongue in your mouth, because truth from a woman is the same thing as devil speech, because it doesn't conform to the role of a woman.
Yeah,
Right.
Just shut the fuck up and listen.
Yeah,
So-
I
so
thought that was so
yeah.
interesting.
That to me kind of lends to what I was talking about earlier about Robert Eggers saying that it's I don't think that William is trying to be like, let me shut her down because she's a woman. I think that he literally just thinks that she's a witch. Like that's just literally what he believes.
I don't think so. There, what I'm saying is, I think that women acting in ways that are not timid and if a woman would hold her tongue, but the devil is what inspired.
You guys are saying the same thing.
Yeah.
It's just
It's just the route to get there is
yeah,
different.
that's exactly what it's like. So he's not doing it intentionally because she's a woman. He's doing it because that's the way that he was taught that things are. So he is actually fearful of her being a witch.
Yeah,
Or
that's
being
what I think.
possessed by
Yeah.
the devil. Yeah,
because
he's
that's
not doing it
not
because
the
like,
way-
hey, women need to shut the fuck up because I'm a man.
No,
he's
that
thinking
he
it.
is. I am saying that he is doing that, though. That's the whole point. The thing is
I
that
disagree
women,
with that, though.
Well,
Then
but that's the thing. Is like when women don't act according to their gender roles, then that's when they do become a witch. It's
Exactly.
not that. It's
That's
not
what
that
he's been
she
taught his whole life.
Yeah, but it's not that he's worried that she is a witch. It's that she is sinning by not conforming to the role of what a woman is.
Yeah, no, I think we both.
Fair.
I think we both understand that. I just, I think the fundamental route on how they achieve that we disagree on, which is fine. That's why we have these discussions, because I wonder, it would
But
be
Connor's right.
no, and that's a good thing. If people can leave in the comments, that's a great thing. Like,
Yeah. Well, because I don't think that William is a bad man. And
Oh,
that's
no, yeah, I don't either.
That's my thing. Is like I don't think that like he would like intentionally just like downgrade his daughter like that. I
Well-
think he cares for Thomason, and I think that he sees her intelligence and things like that in her.
I
Like
think he's
it's-
just
So
indoctrinated.
he's very reluctant to like, I'm just gonna sell her away to another family, but he finally does just to shut his fucking wife up, which is crazy. It's like, okay, I guess the only thing I can do is sell my daughter to keep you from stop nagging me. Like, What
Yeah.
a terrible marriage.
But yeah, that's the thing is I think that he is like he does care about her, but he's so indoctrinated in the religion. It's what sent him to
Absolutely,
the
yeah,
woods
yeah,
in the
of
first
course,
place.
yeah.
So that's why I'd say it that way. I'd say it's not because he's doing it out of spite or because or malice. It's that he thinks that women acting in a certain way would lead them down to the path to sin, to
Yep.
ultimately becoming a witch.
So yeah, you guys are literally saying the same thing.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, okay.
So, do we have more to say about Puritans and witches?
They suck. Learn how to party, boys.
Do we have maybe about like the witch archetype itself?
No, not yet. But one thing I do think is really interesting is the idea of fear. Like a big part of Protestantism was how evil was physical and omnipresent. And so these beliefs were carried over into America, where preachers taught that settlements were surrounded by demons, and it was the job of good Christians to remain righteous in the face of evil. And obviously that's terrifying. Like that's a part of like why we have all of these shots of the wilderness, is because it was something that they felt was against them. Like not just because it was an element of
Because
hardship.
they're surrounded by demons.
Exactly.
They don't have the rest of the town to help them be pure.
Exactly.
Oh, okay, I like that. I never.
Yeah, demon fence.
That didn't
Made of trees.
that didn't occur to me. I like the. What else do you got, Calvin?
Yeah.
Do we want to go over some of the just kind of some scenes real quick that we like?
Yeah, I would love to. I mean, again, staging here. Robert Eggers
How the
knows-
fuck did they grow so much corn so fast?
They so they bought it.
That
they
looks
bought
like
it
that
and
looks
then
like
let it
already.
rot.
Yeah, that looks like already dead corn. My assumption is it's just corn
They
they
went
brought.
onto the land and the corn was like already growing.
No, they went and bought some and took it up there. They let it rot for a couple months.
Yeah, that's the way. It
Okay,
looked to
I'm
me.
talking about like in the movie.
Yeah.
Not like outside of the movie. Not like how they got the corn there. Like,
I think they were
actually,
there
like, the
for a few
characters.
Oh, how did they plant the corn?
That's what I'm fucking saying. Yeah. What were they eating before that? Because clearly the dude can't hunt or gather. What the fuck were they doing for food?
Well, they have a big cart, I guess. I don't know.
Maybe they had another child at some point.
Because the horse ran away, right? I think I might have missed that part.
No, the horse runs away.
Okay, because it would have been better if they ate
Later
the
on.
horse. That's all I'm saying.
No, they don't eat the horse.
That's my
no, that's a good point. Sorry, you said that, and we.
No,
were-
I understand.
we
Yeah,
focused on the
we've
wrong
talked
thing.
so much about corn off scenes with Interstellar that it makes sense that what you guys thought about.
This
right
is
away.
this is almost a corn podcast now.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. We're so
It's not corny though, boys. Keep listening.
we're so up to date on our corn lore.
That sentence has never been uttered before. We're up to date on our corn lore.
Hey, I have two roommates that are from Iowa. I know quite a bit about corn.
Yeah. Now whenever we watch a movie, like the corn realism is just not. It's
Watching
my-
Pocahontas.
Yeah, I cannot suspend my disbelief here because of that. What are they doing with that breed of corn at that time period? Am I right?
Do we want to talk about?
Well, I was thinking we'd start with the opening scene.
Right. Yeah. Let's do that.
I love the opening scene. I love how we don't see William's face at all.
Yeah.
And it's not because it's not about him. You know, it's about the council. It's about showing the sexes separated between men and women on one side. And generally, children would also be on the woman's side as well. But in this case, he wanted to be very clear that it was a gender difference, that men were all on the right and all women.
I don't
were
think
on the
Robert
right.
Eggers gave a shit about the gender stuff. I think he just want to make a movie about a witch.
No, he does give a shit about the gender stuff because it's true to the period.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah.
That's what I mean. But then that's why he chose it specifically. But he did say specifically he chose to keep the boy children with the men and the girl children with the women, so that to emphasize that division.
Yeah, okay.
So you have the faces of the children. You have the back of William's face. It's so interesting where he puts his perspective in this whole scene. Like, you'd think that all of the conflict is coming from the pride of William, but that's not what we care about. It's how it's affecting everybody else.
Yep.
Right, and I think another cool thing about not having his face in it at all is just to allow that wonderful dialogue to carry the scene.
Oh, yeah.
It's just talking about how. Well, no, because I think it's great. I think it's talking about kind of the hubris that he thinks that like pilgrimage has, and how he's like, I have it figured out, you guys don't, and so that's also hubris.
Oh, what
for
he says
William's
is
character.
fine. It's just the way that he says it that pisses
Oh,
me off.
yeah.
so.
Dude, Robert Anderson can say anything, and I'm just like, yep, I agree.
That's fine.
I want you to talk more, please.
Just stop fucking like that.
So yeah, I do think it's interesting that his head is not in it, and it lets the dialogue, and it kind of lets you kind of take a breath and take in the scene, and kind of, because again, like you said, the focus isn't really on him; it's about what's happening around him, and so I think that's an interesting way to do it. It just by something simple as setting the frame below someone's head or not including their face in it. Like, you don't see the dialogue delivered, so you focus more on what's in the frame, which again, I think is what you said, is everything is just so built up in what you see on in the frame, that it doesn't matter if there's a score behind it, because there's no score during that part.
Nope.
The first bit of score shows up when they leave the plantation.
Yep.
What other scenes do you have?
Oh, so I think obviously the best scene, the most widely remembered, will be Caleb's exorcism or death. You know, whatever you think of it as there. I mean, just there's actually that line, "Kiss me with the kisses of thy mouth." That's actually a line that every now and then, like, metal bands will borrow lines from horror movies and put them in. And so one of my favorite bands, Infant Annihilator, has that in the.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it's.
I thought you were going to say they borrow lines from hymns, because hymns are like terribly graphic sometimes. Like,
Yeah.
for weird reasons.
Well, and that's actually like the when he says that, that's actually an excerpt from John Winthrop, one of his prayers, which is actually an excerpt from Song of Solomon. So that,
Oh, wow.
yeah,
Okay.
like that's all borrowed from the Bible. So it's interesting to think about. To me, I think it's interesting to think about how he's more than likely illiterate. He probably, maybe, had never heard that before. And I mean, he's in such a state. Like, why is he saying it so eloquently? It almost feels like it's coming out of him, like it's possession, than it is something that he is familiar with.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I don't think he's aware of what he's saying at all.
No.
Yeah.
Also about that scene, like he just comes in naked in the rain, just hanging out on that fence post. Pretty weird.
Yeah.
And they just bring him inside. Like the first thing we should do is cut his fucking face.
Yeah.
What? We all know what to do here. We found our son naked in the rain.
Yeah.
Actually missing the woods for a couple hours. Cut his face.
Dude, old time medicine is absolutely bonkers.
Yeah, do some cocaine. We'll get the ghost out of your blood.
People used to brush their teeth with sugar. Everything about old time medicine is absolutely wrong.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
But yeah, again, I said it already. I think that's like one of the best bits of acting in the whole film. I will say without getting into kind of my theories on that scene, when he pukes up that apple, I am not someone who is like shy about gruesome scenes or gross stuff. I gag every time I see that. I've
really?
I've watched this like 3 times leading up to this podcast. I gag every time. There's just something about it. I'm just like, it is so disgusting.
That's so weird to me because like I usually have like a very big problem with scenes like that, and it did not bother me
Really?
one bit.
Oh my
yeah.
God.
Yeah.
I was
Honestly,
like, like literally, like as soon as he started, I was like, oh, he's gonna throw up an apple.
yeah.
I
that-
saw it coming.
knew it was
Yeah.
coming. And I was like, oh my God, this is... And I felt myself. I was like, don't do it. And I was like, gag. Oh my God. It's just a very viscerally disgusting scene. I was...
I love the scene when Black Phillip just fucks the dad up. I love it, dude. Like,
Yeah,
I'm
that
like,
one's
that
pretty
goat, sneaky as hell. How did no one hear him coming? All right. B,
Devil's in the
he
shit.
gets him good, dude.
Oh,
and then
yeah.
he's all fucking like wheeling before he attacks him again. I'm like, this goat is a boss, dude.
So that goat put Ralph Ineson in the hospital 3 times during filming.
What?
Did it? I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
He
That's
said-
crazy.
he
That
said-
goat's badass.
He was like, yep, he knocked me about. It didn't break one of his ribs; it dislocated his rib, which
Huh,
apparently
gross.
is more painful.
Yeah, I
than
would
a
imagine
broken
it's
rib.
very painful. Yeah.
So yeah, he was like, I went to the hospital a couple times because of old Black Phillip. So
Yeah.
Yeah, you know
like,
what's
he's
also,
like, yeah, the goat's no joke.
yeah, you know what's actually also crazy? Like a big part of like why it's always rearing like that. They actually had trainers with ropes on him that they CGI'd out.
No way.
Oh yeah,
Crazy.
there's actually
I thought this goat might be the best actor in the movie until you just ruined it for me. So
Yeah, no, there's a lot of CGI in this film. All of the nudity, there's actually modesty suits that they have, and then that's posted.
So I actually had a question about that because she's 16.
Same with Caleb. Caleb's underage too, and he's naked on that fence post.
Yeah.
he also gets kissed by a grown fucking woman.
I mean,
The part's
but that's like-
gross,
yeah, but like
dude.
culturally, that's not weird in some places, you know.
Okay, well, it's weird here in America where I live.
But I'm saying like Anna Taylor-Joy, she can't be actually nude on screen. Like there's no way.
Right.
And so I'm actually glad you brought that up because that was a question I had. I was like, how can they film that? Because there's just no way that's
illegal,
like legal
yeah.
in any way. And so
Same
you
with
could say
the
it's-
witch, the witch's butt in the when she's naked in the hovel, like all of those. The group at the
Old
end.
lady witch?
Yeah,
Okay, then yeah, of course.
I'm
it's
pretty
fake.
sure though that
She looks
the-
just like the lady from The Shining.
yeah, but I'm pretty sure that the witch's Sabbath at the end they are all nude.
That would
think that one's
make more
different.
sense because they're
That makes
adults
sense,
and they
yeah.
can consent to do something.
Yeah, but the old witch was also had a modesty suit on.
Okay. I'm just saying, I'm glad you cleared that up for me because I was watching this. I was like, this isn't right at all. I mean, just, I think for the scene, it all fits. It makes
Yeah.
sense in the scene, but just in the back of my mind, I was like, how can they film this? Like, you can't film a 16-year-old walking around naked. You can't do that. So
Right.
thank you for clearing that up. I was very confused on that.
All right, so we've talked about apples, we've talked about witches, but we haven't really gotten into the hares or the silver chalice. So I think that's kind of a good spot to end this part 1 here, and then next episode we'll kind of dive deeper into what does the apple mean What does the Devil's Book mean? What does the chalice, the hair? What do they mean to the story? And then what symbolic meanings do they have as well? And so we'll dive more into those next episode. But for that, for Jaden and Calvin, I'm your host Connor, and thank you for listening to Now This Is Podcasting.